Before power was measured in market share, it was measured in territory. Let's review the ultimate strategists. The problem begins when a subordinate gains enough power to challenge the system that empowered them. Delegated capacity can become autonomous leverage. Many hierarchies create capable intermediaries. They command resources, relationships, and information. Yet those same capacities can become independent centers of power. Strength and dependence can therefore grow together. The loyalty problem is therefore structural, not merely emotional. It asks how authority can rely on strong subordinates without creating rivals the center cannot contain. That tension cannot be solved through personality alone. Punishment appears to offer a simple answer: raise the cost of defection, watch closely, and make examples of those who cross the boundary. Deterrence can shape behavior but not underlying alignment. Yet a system built mainly on fear creates its own instability. Surveillance grows, trust contracts, and many capable subordinates becomes a potential suspect. Fear produces silence that leaders may mistake for stability. This episode examines loyalty through 4 interacting mechanisms: incentives, distributed power, institutional identity, and credible boundaries on coercion. The aim is durable cooperation rather than coerced stillness. The first danger is concentration. When one subordinate controls too many resources, appointments, channels, and loyalties, personal authority can begin to rival formal office. Dependency transforms administrative capacity into political exposure. Concentration is especially risky when the system cannot replace that subordinate without losing capacity. Dependence gives the subordinate bargaining power beyond the assigned role. Replaceability is therefore a protection for both sides. The second danger is ambiguity. If authority, succession, reward, and accountability remain undefined, subordinates may build private protections against an uncertain future. Uncertainty encourages defensive behavior before conflict openly appears. Study the architecture of command. Loyalty is rarely secured by sentiment alone. It is shaped by the costs, rewards, identities, and alternatives built into the system. Each mechanism changes the subordinate's perceived future. The third danger is unequal recognition. When contribution is invisible or reward appears arbitrary, loyalty can weaken even among actors who once accepted the hierarchy. Recognition is part of the incentive architecture. The fourth danger is fear at the center. A leader who interprets independent judgment too readily as disloyalty may punish competence and surround the office with dependency. Suspicion can hollow out the very competence authority needs. To analyze stable loyalty, separate compliance from commitment. Compliance follows a present command. Commitment links the subordinate's future interests to the continuity of the institution. Commitment is therefore the more demanding institutional objective. Punitive systems can enforce compliance for a time, but punishment does not automatically create commitment. It may instead teach concealment, caution, and alliance building. Concealment may look like order until pressure exposes it. Reward systems attempt the opposite. They make service valuable through status, access, security, opportunity, or a predictable share of institutional success. Predictability matters as much as the reward's immediate size. Within that context, rewards work best when they are rule-bound enough to appear dependable. Pure personal favor makes loyalty depend on constant proximity to the leader. Rules allow loyalty to outlast personal access. Structural limits address concentration directly. Authority can be divided across offices, resources, jurisdictions, or review paths so that no single subordinate controls the main levers. Distribution converts private leverage into shared capacity. Division alone is not enough. Fragmented authority can create paralysis, rivalry, and hidden bargaining if the separate parts lack a shared objective. Coordination must replace rivalry as the organizing principle. Cross-checks are therefore stronger when responsibilities overlap only at defined boundaries. Each role remains capable, yet important decisions require visible coordination. Defined overlap creates restraint without total paralysis. The distinction matters because deliberate balance is different from persistent mutual suspicion. One supports institutions, the other consumes attention and trust. Trust needs boundaries, while boundaries need intelligible purpose. The first stabilizing mechanism is predictable reward. Subordinates need to understand how contribution, responsibility, and continued service affect their future position. Predictability lowers the need for private insurance. The second is replaceable capacity. Knowledge, relationships, and procedures should be distributed so the institution can continue when one powerful actor leaves. Continuity should not depend on one irreplaceable relationship. The third is limited jurisdiction. A subordinate may command deeply within one domain while remaining unable to convert that domain into total institutional control. Jurisdiction limits opportunity without eliminating useful authority. The fourth is transparent succession. Uncertainty about future leadership can make powerful actors protect themselves through private coalitions and preemptive maneuvering. Succession uncertainty often changes incentives long before transition. The fifth is shared identity. Loyalty becomes more durable when actors see their role as connected to an institution, mission, or order larger than one patron. Identity can align action where contracts remain incomplete. Authority moves through institutions. Personal loyalty may start a relationship, but institutional loyalty is what allows coordination to survive replacement and distance. Institutions convert personal relationships into repeatable expectations. The sixth mechanism is reciprocal obligation. The center expects service, yet it also accepts duties of protection, recognition, procedure, and restraint. Reciprocity gives loyalty a moral and practical foundation. When obligation runs only downward, loyalty becomes extraction. Subordinates may comply while conditions are favorable, then defect when the cost of remaining exceeds the cost of leaving. Extraction teaches compliance while weakening attachment. The seventh mechanism is credible discipline. Boundaries must exist, but discipline becomes stabilizing only when violations, evidence, and consequences are recognizable beforehand. Discipline must protect rules rather than personal insecurity. Arbitrary punishment creates a different lesson. Survival depends on anticipating the leader's mood rather than serving the institution's stated purpose. Arbitrariness rewards caution, flattery, and hidden alliances. The eighth mechanism is information access. A center that hears only from favorites may misread loyalty, punish honest warning, and reward actors skilled at concealment. Accurate information is itself a loyalty safeguard. The ninth mechanism is coalition balance. Multiple groups can stabilize one another when none can dominate, but balance fails if the center manipulates many relationships into hostility. Managed plurality differs from engineered hostility. The 10th mechanism is legitimate exit from office. Retirement, reassignment, or reduced authority must not automatically become humiliation, dispossession, or personal danger. A safe exit reduces the incentive to resist transition. Without a tolerable exit, powerful actors may cling to office because losing position appears equivalent to losing security. Security after service can stabilize authority before departure. The final mechanism is institutional memory. Clear procedures make past service, decisions, and obligations visible beyond personal recollection or rumor. Memory prevents obligations from being rewritten by convenience. A counterpoint is that some threats are real. A system cannot treat each sign of disloyalty as misunderstanding, especially when concentrated power and concealed coordination appear together. Real risk requires evidence, not persistent suspicion. The boundary is evidence and proportionality. Protective action may be necessary, but it should address a defined risk rather than convert uncertainty into persistent repression. Proportion preserves protection without destroying legitimacy. Another limitation is that incentives cannot manufacture loyalty where goals fundamentally conflict. Reward may delay defection without resolving the underlying struggle. Some conflicts are structural rather than negotiable. Within that context, shared identity also has limits. Institutional narratives can unify, but they can be used to silence dissent or excuse unequal treatment. Unity cannot become a demand for silence. A conceptual case shows the stable pattern. Imagine a capable subordinate with clear authority, predictable reward, distributed dependencies, and a secure path out of office. Each condition reduces either motive, opportunity, or uncertainty. That actor can exercise meaningful power while remaining connected to the institution because service, reputation, and future security depend together on continuity. Cooperation becomes connected to a credible future. The unstable pattern is the reverse. Concentrated resources, uncertain reward, personal favor, arbitrary punishment, and no safe exit. These conditions push capable actors toward defensive independence. Under those conditions, rebellion is not predetermined, but self-protection may encourage secrecy, private alliances, and resistance to oversight. Self-protection can emerge even without an initial plan to rebel. The opening problem can now be answered. Stable loyalty emerges when the system makes continued cooperation safer, more valuable, and more meaningful than private competition. Stability is created by future expectations, not fear alone. Punishment can define boundaries, but it cannot carry the entire system. Reward, replaceability, limited jurisdiction, shared identity, and reciprocal obligation must do more of the work. Several mechanisms must reinforce one another. Purely punitive control is unstable because it requires constant detection while giving subordinates strong reasons to hide intentions and protect themselves. Hidden intention is difficult and costly to monitor. A durable system reduces both motive and opportunity. It aligns interests while preventing any one role from becoming indispensable to institutional survival. Alignment and distribution address different sides of the problem. The system matters more than the myth. Loyal subordinates are not simply found. Loyalty is encouraged or weakened by the architecture surrounding their service. Architecture shapes what loyalty means in practice. This also explains why a leader may misread obedience as loyalty. Silence can reflect fear, dependence, uncertainty, or strategic patience rather than genuine commitment. Obedience alone provides weak evidence about commitment. Strong institutions make warning possible. A subordinate should be able to report failure, disagreement, or risk without automatically being classified as an enemy. Warning channels protect the center from manufactured consensus. So, the practical question is not, how do we make subordinates loyal? It is, what conditions make cooperation rational, honorable, bounded, and institutionally durable? This wording shifts attention from control to conditions. Begin by identifying where power is concentrated beyond formal accountability. Look for control over resources, information, appointments, relationships, and succession. Concentration should be measured across several institutional resources. Then examine whether rewards are predictable or personal. A system of favors may produce intense loyalty to one patron while weakening loyalty to the institution. Personal favor creates loyalty that may vanish with succession. Ask whether critical capacity can survive departure. If one actor carries most essential knowledge or relationships, the organization has created dependency rather than delegation. Redundancy preserves both continuity and bargaining balance. Inspect discipline for clarity and proportionality. Boundaries should protect the institution without turning uncertainty, criticism, or independent judgment into presumed betrayal. Independent judgment must remain distinguishable from defection. The final application must remain bounded. Historical courts, armies, and empires differ profoundly from modern organizations in rights, coercion, and acceptable authority. Analogy cannot erase the ethical distance between contexts. Still, the structural question remains useful. Does the system secure cooperation by building reciprocal institutions, or by making powerful actors afraid to move? Reciprocity offers a stronger foundation than persistent fear. Effectiveness is not legitimacy. A stable loyalty system can still be coercive or unjust, so durability should not be confused with moral approval. Stability and justice remain separate evaluations. Use this lens to examine concentration, reward, replaceability, jurisdiction, identity, discipline, information, exit, and consequence. Together, these elements reveal the system behind loyalty in practice. The durable lesson is a question. Does loyalty protect the institution, or merely protect the person who currently controls it? The throne changes, the strategy remains. Until next time.